everyone, Christina here with your weekly Divine Love reading for December 5th through the 11th. Thanks for joining me. I'd like to announce that my $33 holiday special on all my twin flame readings is still going on, and that is a 60-minute reading that is split into two parts. The first half of that reading follows the spread that I use for the weekly and monthly, and so that begins with the energies surrounding each twin, the energies drawing each twin into union, the energies pulling each partner away from union. There's also the masculine and feminine energies that are wanting to come into balance for each partner, as well as the overall energies for the union itself. And then that first half ends with a bit of advice for going forward. The second half of the reading is a chakra check-in for each partner and the union. If you kind of treat the union as sort of an energy body, and as an energy body unto itself. I have tried to record this so many times, so I am leaving that in, and I'm going to keep going. Okay. If you have not yet, so, wow, this is a day. Okay, so if that resonates for you, I will leave that information down below. And if you have not yet watched the monthly reading for December or the new moon reading, I would highly suggest that you go back to that and just review, because this reading for today, or for this week, it is a continuation of the new moon energies. It's like kind of the germination phase of whatever you are planting or meant to plant during that new moon. And then it's also kind of the first detailed episode of the longer story that the December reading told. So I have to tell you, there are parallel storylines going on for each partner right now, and you'll see that there's like crossover and reinforcement on both sides of the union. So with that, I will go ahead and get started. The way I do this, I don't do a masculine twin and a feminine twin, or like one who's holding, more energy that's prominent. What I do is I have I start with you who are the twin who is watching, and then the other side of the spread is your counterpart who is obviously away from here, and then each twin has that masculine feminine energy. There are cards for the masculine and feminine energies that are wanting to come into balance. Okay, so starting with us, the energies that are surrounding us right now is the Nine of Pentacles. And if you watched the December reading, our side had double Ten of Pentacles. And so it's like this Ten of Pentacles moment for us is right on the verge of coming in. So that's going to happen for us probably, toward the end of this week and moving into next week. All of that work that we've been putting in is coming up, and we're really kind of starting to feel a little bit flush and, with all of these sort of golden coins, although these are actually, I think these are cufflinks or buttons for a school in London. I want to say it's in London. I have no idea. But the reason I bring up the school part is because this coming into that Ten of Pentacles energy as the nine is, we're not used to that yet. So we're kind of learning how to manage our own prosperity and abundance, so that all of this this is material wealth, this material flow that's coming toward us, we aren't just kind of pushing it straight out the door again. All right. So, this is kind of straightforwardly about money. But this is lovely. This is just telling us, yeah, you're here. You're right on. You're at the doorstep. Things are coming in. You've picked up your package, and now you need to make sure that you don't, drop it in the pool or something. I don't know. I'm being really silly. I'm a little bit giddy today. The stuff that's going on in these cards is like, I can feel all of this stuff. I also want to let you know that this deck that I'm using, this is kind of my no bullshit deck, and it does not mince words. It's one of my heaviest hitting decks. So I'm as I'm kind of channeling these messages back out to you, it's like I can even, like feel just a lot coming out. So sorry to be kind of like meta about my own process right here, but just to let you know how kind of intense all of these messages and the energies that are kind of forcing them through are right now. So like I said, there's our current energy. What's pulling us away from union, and this is where we start to see that new moon, the new moon energies coming back and nagging at us. We have the Page of Wands, and this is really about that unused paintbrush there. That new moon energy had so much creative energy in it. This is about creating our lives. You'll see when we get to the twins side, they have some similar creative impulse going on. But for us on our side, this is kind of nagging at us. Like right now, I'm feeling a little bit called out by this personally. Like right now on my table, just out of the screen, just out of frame, I have a bunch of paints and canvases that really want me to use them. And pulling me away from union is not the part where I use them, it's the part where I don't, where I'm not following through on that impulse. So for us, this is about, that impulse toward your creative side, which is the expression of the intuition outside of language. That is, our neglect of that is what is pulling us away from the union. So the direction, the advice here is pick up your paints or, whatever your creative outlet is. Like I said, this is a very direct continuation of that need to express outside of language. Like you will see how strong and loud that message is in this reading. So moving on from there, just get on your paints or your music or whatever that creative aspect is for you. Moving us toward union, though, is the High Priestess. And she is, okay, so a lot of times when the High Priestess comes up, I hear readers say, like, so go meditate and, get in touch with your inner voice. And that's not what this particular High Priestess is wanting from us. This is not about being contemplative. Like it's not about like being, this time it's not about being quiet and still. This is, I'm not sure, let me see if I can, there you go. You can see she has like all of these formulas written on the blackboard around her. And what they're wanting is not to go and be still and be in silence for this particular week. What they want is for you to go study. Okay, so there is wisdom. Like I told you last week, I showed you that Zero book or not last week, I think it was in the New Moon reading. I'm reading this book about Zero, and I'm reading math books right now. But it doesn't have to be math for you. This is really about like reconnecting with the initial germ of knowledge and science, what was science in its first iteration in the roots of these sort of occult, these occult knowledges. So a great example of this would be astrology. Astrology depends on the measurement of angles and relationships between stars, constellations, the planets, and that those practices of measuring now assert themselves as astronomy, and the main difference between them, the main difference between them is the meaning assigned to all of those measurements. Okay, so this High Priestess drawing you toward union is to increase and expand your knowledge of all of these kind of, they're not buried knowledges, they're just stigmatized knowledges. So, if you're walking the spiritual path and, we've got tarot cards and astrology and new moon energies, and, when we talk about stuff like that, sometimes we know who is open to hearing that, and the very fact that we have a filter that kind of helps us navigate who gets sort of the full Monty of that way of connecting to the universe. What they're wanting you to do is reconnect back to that as sort of the star of the show. I know that, like, for some of you, this is the way you are all the time, and you are, fortunate enough to be surrounded by people who are all about this stuff. But a lot of people don't live in the world that way. They are surrounded by kind of regular folks who it's not because that they're like fully, totally only rational, or even that we are. It's that we know that there's that each of these kinds of ways of knowing are appropriate for answering different kinds of questions. And so for this, drawing us toward union, it's to reconnect with those, like I said, reconnecting with the stigmatized ways of knowing, knowledge systems, and going more into depth with that. Yeah, this is about study, right? Okay, so now moving over to our partners. In their current energies, they have the King of Wands, and I am just loving. So we had the unused paintbrush. What they have going on their side, these are conductors' batons. They are, I mean, these aren't for composition, but it's like they're composing the music of their own lives right now. For the monthly reading, it was about this new door opening for them. They may have made a big move. They've rearranged their living situation, their work situation, and so this current energy surrounding them is about, like, they understand that they have control over kind of maneuvering and conducting all the energies and opportunities that are available to them. And I'm going to continue with that idea, because what is moving them toward union is the Empress. This is great. The Empress I love that, like, these are sort of parallel. These are parallel energies. We have the High Priestess, which is about kind of that spiritual mastery in the feminine, and the Empress is about the creative mastery, bringing things forth from the feminine. And what's interesting about this deck is, the depiction in this particular deck is, you can see, so she's like smashing all of these old dishes, and this is such a different depiction of the Empress. Usually the Empress is like some pregnant lady in a garden, right? But what I think is so great about this in particular is, I recently read a tarot fragment, I guess, about the Empress as a ruthless gardener, and I'll put the link for that in the comments here. But that's this is what your partner is doing right now. They understand that that Ace of Pentacles is a gateway into the new garden that they are tending for themselves, and they understand that they have to kind of smash some things and do some weeding in that garden, so that this new opportunity, the new things that want to grow, that new flowering from the monthly reading, so all of that can grow. So they're part of that Three of Swords struggle that we saw in the monthly reading, is also them kind of, it looks like a little bit of chaos because they are just kind of smashing and clearing and doing all that stuff, but this is great, awesome effort on their part. Now, pulling them away from the union is the Two of Cups. And I don't want you to panic. Okay, so for a lot of you watching, or not a lot of you watching, for a small number of you who are watching, this is actually pointing to your counterpart being in some kind of a relationship outside of your union. And of course, this is where I was going with that, a lot of you, part of the sentence was, like, a lot of us, when we even think about this, we get really like, that sucks. Why are you dating someone who's not me? But this isn't even like a karmic relationship. It's not like they have duty to the universe that they have to go take care of with another person. This is actually, if they are in some kind of a relationship with someone who's not you, this is their old pattern stuff. Okay, so the stuff that made your your interactions with them difficult. They're just doing more of it with somebody else. And what I want to show you in particular is how this is supposed to be the Two of Cups, but there's only one real cup that's taking up all the frame here. And then here's this other cup who's trying to come in. And for them, it's like the way that they are kind of an energetic black hole in relationships is they're just doing that some more. Okay, so pulling them away from union is them continuing to spin their wheels as a relationship partner, you know, like spinning their wheels in their bad relationship habits. And the other thing I want to show you about this is cups are usually clear. Like when we see them, they're usually, you know, crystal or glass. But this is like this goblet that you can't see through. You know, they continue to be not transparent and forthcoming in their love partnerships, or what they're. It's not even love partnerships. It's just romantic entanglements. That's all this is a romantic entanglement where they are just continuing to spin their wheels. And frankly, if that's what they're doing, you should be happy that it's happening with somebody else, because you ain't got time for that, right? But the other thing I want to show you also about why the decks matter and why it's noteworthy that this particular deck wanted to be the one that spoke today is, you know, I want to show you what the Ace or the Two of Cups in other decks is usually so much prettier than this. Like the Da Vinci Enigma tarot that I used last week, the Two of Cups in that deck is union. Okay, so it matters that this is something that's, you know, that's pulling them away. And you know what the Lover's card is in that deck? Twins. All right. So if you are a person who gets really wigged out whenever your partner is with anybody who's not you, like, cool it, because this thing that they're doing, so this thing that they're doing is actually continuing to pull them out and away from the union, not because they're not picking you, but because they're not learning anything from that relationship. That's not a relationship that's helping them grow. You know, in the monthly reading, we had the Ace of Water on our side, and that was about, you know, for people who are dating, you know, on our side, who are dating outside of the union. That is the kind of relationship that is teaching lessons, that is giving you kind of training wheels for the kind of dynamic, the kind of way of being in the union that we need to have in order to sustain it when we, you know, come into union with this partner. But that's not what's happening here. They are just kind of doing their same old crap. All right. Okay. And moving on from there, I'm going to move now to the masculine and feminine aspects that are coming into balance on our side. And sorry, I'm getting these cards. Okay. So on the feminine side, or the feminine aspect on our side, is Pomona Plenty, and she is a Roman goddess. Sorry, hold on. There we go. She's a Roman goddess, and she's known as the gardener. And, you know, that goes along this is echoing what they have going on as the thing drawing them into union. On our side, we have this feminine energy. It's like basically we got the Empress on our side. We are being our own gardeners, you know, tending to our garden. What is it that we are wanting to grow? And that is, like I said, another continuation of the new moon energy. The other thing, the other thing with her is Pomona is also known as a ruthless gardener. She's about pruning, okay? In order to bring about all this plenty, she knows that she needs to kind of prune back things that don't, it's not just about deadheading. If you are a gardener, you know, it's not just about deadheading the spent flowers, but it's the pruning is the thing that actually catalyzes growth, you know, encourages growth. So on our side, it's about, you know, we're doing our own kind of stripping away and pruning back of our garden so that we can promote our own growth too. On the masculine aspect for us, we have Osiris, and he is an Egyptian god of renewal and resurrection. So I'm only going to read just sort of the beginning epigraph on this. It says, pay attention to your need for rejuvenation and renewal, both physically and mentally. You are invited to experience the magic of hope. The magic of hope is the key here. What they're really, Isis is in this depiction with him. And basically what we're being directed to in terms of Osiris as a symbol is that after he was killed, Isis she was distraught, and she used her magic to resurrect Osiris so that something new could be born, Horus. And for us, this is kind of like the this pruning back, that there is new birth that is available after death. That was also I think that was in the new moon reading. Is that right? Or maybe the weekly reading from last week. But it's that, what are we doing? We're putting things to bed so that something new can come in, and we have to have hope that something new happens. If you're in separation, that was basically like the death of the end of a previous chapter of this relationship, this union. And this is about, having that hope that something new is going to emerge. And it's not even hope, it's just because hope is like, we have like, oh, I want that to happen, but we're kind of in the back of our mind knowing that maybe it won't, okay? Faith is knowing that, is that deep knowing that, yeah, of course that's going to happen. Of course this is going to be resurrected. And so bringing these two into balance with one another, it's this masculine energy of death and rebirth. This is also, what else is they're wanting me to talk about here is about devotion. Isis, the Isis part of the story. It's really interesting that both of these are kind of about the women. But Isis was so devoted. She went, Osiris was dismembered in the battle that killed him. And Isis roamed the earth looking for all of his parts so that she could put him back together again. And, it's that kind of devotion. It's not because we're supposed to be that devoted. It's that we need to see ourselves as Osiris, as worthy of all of this devotion, as, even though we are kind of pulled in a lot of different directions, doing this work for ourselves, knowing that all of this dispersal, whether it's, our own kind of individual parts or ourselves and our partners as kind of dismembered parts of the union being dispersed, this is about coming back together and living again anew. It is very hopeful and lovely. Okay, now on their side, they have, here we go. They have Zeus, and they also have Vesta. And, okay, so here's Zeus, and the key word here is leadership. And this is about, your partner is recognizing themselves as the steward of their own lives. So it's this conductor energy. They know that they're kind of in charge of it. It's also this Empress energy because there it is. I'm losing cards. Sorry about that. Their feminine energy is Vesta, and her keyword is home. And it's so interesting. It's like the two feminine energies on each side of this union are home and garden. Okay. But they're also, their feminine energies, their big cards are the Empress, home and garden. Okay. They understand themselves to be the stewards of their own lives, they are getting their home life, their immediate environment in order. And this is the immediate environment that does not include anyone else, not even not these people either, okay? This is totally about like that, okay, who am I in the world? How do I create my own home environment so that it supports that? The other thing that they want me to point out here, we've got a lot of bird messengers this week. I'll just give you a sneak peek on that. They want me to point out this bald eagle. And I'm not going to do interpretation for this. What they want, they just want me to point it out because each of you, it's like a kind of a large number of people who are viewing this have the bald eagle in particular. So not just any eagle, so not just like golden eagles, bald eagles in particular, that has a special significance for your union, for your partner. So they want you to tap into that significance. I'm just listening. And okay, because what they want me to do is give you a moment to teach you how to see your own signs and hear your own guides trying to get through. So if you are not a person who is super in touch with animal totems and spirit guides, animal guides, this is a little bit more additional direction to pay attention to that, because there's a message that's coming through to you via eagles in particular. So sometimes if you go and do research about spirit animals, eagles and hawks will just get grouped together. There's something special about eagles and bald eagles in particular that matter for you who are watching. And it is about your partner and what they are doing. It has to do with their stewardship of their own lives, whatever this eagle message is. Okay. Oh, that was an interesting one to have come through. Like this little weird mystery lesson, mystery tutorial about a message that wants to come through. Okay. So now we are going to move to, I'm really liking this, the overall energies of the union. 2 cards came out this time. Well, it wasn't 2 cards from the same deck. It was, so I pulled from the Universal Love deck this card of balance. This is gorgeous. I'm gonna cry. Okay. So if you remember, like in the weekly reading and the monthly reading, the top card was the Guardian, and it showed a guardian angel who's always with kind of the main, like each partner. And wow, I'm really having a moment. So this is your partner, and this one here is you kind of being in their ear this week. Remember how before I was saying, like, you've been heard. They've heard that truth that you've pointed out to them, and they're carrying you with them. I'm also liking this yin yang at the top as that balance. They can hear their own inner feminine. They can hear you. Wow, you guys, this is really intense. They also want me to point out this, it's like a little moon in front of where their throat chakra is. And it's like they are so close to being able to speak their own truth to themselves. Oh, this is so wonderful. They are coming into balance. This union is coming into balance. And you can actually, you saw it earlier in, the ways that they've got an Empress, they've got an Empress, master gardener, ruthless gardener, and so do we. They have this creator of artwork, this artistry of their own lives, and so do we. And I was also called to pull a soul card, like an energy card for the soul of the union, and the card that I got was this one. And I mean, there are such lovely echoes between them. So we have, here's, you know, kind of this yin yang, this, I would even put this as the, it's it's the sorry, I'm like, it is this connection to spirit, okay? The soul of the union itself is coming into balance. Like the two of you have your individual energies and your connectedness. The ways that you are united and bonded in the 5D is in balance. And what I'm also loving about this is, so this is the, here's the, on the third eye chakra, and look how beautiful that is. It's, so we've got the pink, which is that universal unconditional love energy. And then there's that teal that's in there, which is the throat chakra. And I'm laughing a little bit right now because I was actually wearing a different necklace when I started, like the several times I tried to start filming this. And so then I changed to this one. I mean, it's not my outfit. You should see what I'm wearing. It's ridiculous. Like my pants are completely insane. And then this necklace, it's like I'm wearing workout wear plus this fancy necklace, but it's the same. These are the same colors. Okay. This is blue topaz and ruby. And so those colors are echoed in that third eye chakra. I'm also looking at this, it's like this little flower petal thing that's at the mouth. And it reminds me of that Rumi quote, I closed my mouth. Oh gosh, I'm going to ruin it. I closed my mouth and spoke to you in 100 silent ways. And that's what's happening right now as you are separated from each other. Or even if, you know, if you are in contact, the most meaningful communication between you is actually happening via your intuitive bond. Wow, I told you, you saw how like crazy it was at the beginning of this video, and then like I kind of had a little bit of a meltdown just looking at this and talking through it. You know, here's this throat chakra, this moon energy at the throat chakra. They're ready to speak that truth, ready to speak from their intuition. This, you know, this intuitive place that has the throat chakra colors and energy in it. And I closed my mouth and spoke to you in 100 silent ways. I don't even know what else to say about it, because like here we are in this land where language doesn't work. And I'm looking, I just caught that the sun is moving. I finally am filming in the daytime and I'm like subject to all of the weird lighting now. So sorry about this, whatever this is kind of interesting. Anyway, wow, way to like totally pull myself out of the moment and all of that energy. Yeah, that was intense, right? Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, sorry, I have a few, they want a few last things to come in with this. All right, so this is about balance. This is about, I mean, like I said, that the balancing, the energies on each side, you saw each of our cards, they're balancing each other out. We are each in a position to be stewarding our own lives, being our own gardeners. And I love that, oh, and that all of this kind of communicating of truth, of that germ of truth and love in our union is being communicated in these, you know, via dream work. That dream work is really, like, that's the dream space is the active space right now. It's not in the 3D. But that's like where all the, like literally it's where all the magic is happening for the union this week. Wow, okay. I need to kind of breathe after that. Okay, so the advice card for the week is card number 24, New Birth Guarded Vigilantly. And this totally makes sense. You know, everybody's doing this gardening. This is that germination phase. We have new seedlings sprouting up. And so this card as advice is just telling us, like, it's not enough that we planted the seed. It's not like, for example, with my unused paintbrushes, it's not enough that we went out and had great intentions, okay? New moons are about setting intentions. The intention is not enough. You have to bring this, you have to keep on kind of nurturing it, okay? Guard the space, guard the time space around these new plantings that are coming up. I mean, so to take my practical example, I need to carve out space to actually do some painting, okay? I don't know what I'm doing. I just need to put some paint on a brush and then put the paint on the canvas. It doesn't matter what it looks like. I just need to be doing it, right? And so this is also about, like, make the time for those intentions that you set last week, because this new growth, I mean, this is, you know, for them, being the steward of their own lives and like getting their home life in order, they have to really be vigilant about kind of guarding that space, you know. And so the stuff that brings them, that was pulling them out, is when they're not guarding that space. They're not being picky about who gets to come in. All right, so this last card, like I said, it's just both sides have these new beginnings, these new bits of growth. I'm going to kind of move. There we go. This new growth that's happening for each partner, and each partner has to keep tending to our own field. So that's the overview of the energies for the week. I just want to show you these again, just so we can look at them again, because they're so lovely. They're so lovely. I'm really excited for all of us with this. Okay, that does it. So just one more quick reminder about that $33 Twin Flame special. Twin Flame, wow, look at me. The special on the Twin Flame readings. And now I'm just going to totally cash a little happy check, because I can, because it's my video. I just want to point out this little guy who's been peeping in on this video the whole time. And if you are still watching and got all the way to the end and also notice this little somebody, then I'm going to invite you to get on Facebook or Instagram and send me a private message through one of those avenues, and I will send you a special little message from this guy. All right, this is our little bird messenger for the week. Okay, everyone. Intense reading, right? But hopeful and beautiful, and you know, I'm feeling really I just feel so much love from that. All right, so I will see you next week. Have a good one. Thanks.